Hi everyone, and welcome to the Lipedema channel, where we focus on women who are managing their lipedema effectively. This is a really special episode for me because many months ago I met Kelly Maynard and I interviewed her. And part of my philosophy is whether you use a Lympha Press or not, I want to hear your story. We care about the stories of lipedema women. And as our guest today and I began to talk, she realized she wanted to try the Lympha Press. Well, here it is 8 weeks into her use of the Optimal Plus, and she has an amazing story to share. But first, I'm proud to welcome Kelly Maynard of Wild Heart Wellness. Welcome back to the Lipedema channel.
Thank you.
Man, I didn't know you, but you were always one of my favorite interviews that I had ever done. And at the time, you were not using an Optimal Plus. Were you using any pneumatic compression, Kelly?
I wasn't using any pneumatic compression. I've tried just about everything. It's a pretty common story with women with lipedema, I think, but like literally everything. So I had done the massage guns and cupping and everything that I tried. It did help, but some of it is not a good fit for me, or some of it was just, it all helped like keep me sort of out of pain and sort of helped with the inflammation. And so nothing was a total loss. I think everything you learn from it, whether it helps you or not. And so I did have a lot of improvement just because I have a big background in natural health and nutrition and just all those things together, they did help. But as you know, in this environment, not just in America, but all over the world, getting the doctor and the insurance and the everybody to decide that you need a medical device, it's a really hard journey. And so when I decided I wanted to try the Lympha Press, it was still many months before, you got emails. It was a long journey trying to find a doctor who would say yes, then trying to find a therapist in my area who knew even what lipedema was, even a certified lymphedema therapist. They don't always have that training or that knowledge. And so it's a really long journey, but finally we got insurance on board, found the doctor, found the therapist, got the documentation. And I'm hoping with this new standard of care that maybe more doctors will know, more insurance companies will not make you jump through all the unnecessary hoops to get something like the Lympha Press. And I think my journey is obviously it's not everybody else's journey with the Lympha Press, but wow, it's been a good journey.
We want to talk about the wow, because every time I got an email from you, I literally got goosebumps. Because, one of the things before we began to market this, it was the first FDA cleared device to treat lipedema, pneumatic compression in the United States, but we didn't want to market it until we could really say to these women who we have come to love, this is going to help you. And we don't want to dash anyone's hopes. We also don't want to set unrealistic expectations. And I'm so glad you said not everybody will necessarily have the results you've had, but let's walk it through your first couple of weeks. What did you notice after using the Optimal Plus? And you have the Pantsuit, correct?
I actually was able to get the pants and the arms. So I have a jacket and then I have the pants. And from what the lymphedema therapist told me, it's really hard for women with lipedema to get the jacket, even if they have lipedema in their arms. And so we worked really carefully to document, use those keywords that insurance companies look for to reflect the true condition of my body, not to try to sneak in anything, but to accurately document what's going on with me and my journey. And we use those keywords like fibrotic tissue and swelling and abnormal appearance, things that would key the insurance into, yes, this really is a medical condition. And so I was able to get both parts, and I'm really glad I did, because I have a lot of fluid and it tends to shift. I know when you did a couple of interviews in June for Lipedema Awareness Month, and Dr. Herbst, and you had one other person, I emailed you.
Karen Ashforth, talking
Yes.
about fibrosis. Yes.
Talking about fibrosis, and also talking about treating the whole body if you do have that lymphedema component, especially because lipedema can sort of shift to other areas that aren't treated, whether you're using compression garments or you're using something like the pneumatic pump. I have found personally that's important for me to treat my whole body. So I was really happy to be able to get the jacket too, because I have had growth in my arms when I only did compression, like waist down. So I think that was a really important part. And the Optimal Plus has that pre-treatment setting where it can prepare your body to like better flush out the fluid. And so I was really excited about both those things. At the same time, it's been a lot of years. And for anyone who watches my previous interview, this is a little bit of that. But after my daughter was a few months old and breastfed less, I had a hormone shift and I gained 50 pounds in it was less than a month. And I have not lost that weight since then. And she just turned 7. And so it has been really challenging, a lot of fluid, a lot of pain, a lot of inflammation, and not anything I did ever. I lost some inches, but I never lost those 50 pounds, no matter what I did. And it makes no sense.
And that is
medically.
the sorrow and the challenge for the lipedema patient, is doing everything right. You are a healthcare professional. You're a wellness professional, and you're doing everything you're supposed to do, and the needle isn't moving. And we do want to say, this is not about weight loss.
Right.
This is about quality of life, mobility, less pain. And there is the benefit that you have experienced, which we'll get to, but we're talking 7 long years of trying, and nothing is really affecting change in your life.
Right. And so when I got the Lympha Press in my home, I didn't have high expectations, despite I've talked to a lot of people, but I didn't want to raise my hopes, because there have been so many times when I thought this has to help. This has to help. And there's so much effort and so much of yourself you just pour into healthcare trying to deal with this disease. And so often it's just such a struggle, and it's just emotionally, you can't deal with it, getting your hopes up and getting them dashed again. So I know I emailed you that first week because I was floored. I don't own a scale. It's not about the weight for me. And I mentioned the 50 pounds of weight not because of the weight, but because that is a reflection of how much fluid my body would not let go of. But so I didn't weigh that first week, but inches lost has been important for me. So I measured 10 different spots on my body where lipedema has occurred: arms and thighs, hips, different places. And the first week, I think it was a little over 12 inches that I lost. And every week it was just, I thought that first week, I was like, okay, well, that was just, you know how you always feel, that's just water weight. That's just fluid, it's just a big thing. But the next week, it wasn't always that much, but it was 7 more inches and 5 more inches. And I was just very consistent with the Lympha Press, which is also, I think that's key too. It was a commitment.
Let's talk about that for a minute, because many people feel like if it's not easy to use, I'm not going to use it. Compliance is important to the insurance companies. Compliance is important to your doctor and your therapist. And it's got to be easy for you to use, for you to be compliant. Right. So you were committed, and that's one thing.
I was committed. It's very easy to use. Extremely easy to use. I had my phone, and you can just push the button with the settings, and it's just saved in your phone. You just push it, it starts, and you just lay there and do it. But it is a commitment. And if I've heard people say, well, I have the Lympha Press. I use it once a week and then it just sits over there and they don't get the results. And that doesn't guarantee you're going to get the results I got. But if you're not using it, you're not going to get any results because, that doesn't help your lymph system if it's just sitting there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have a little one behind you, don't you?
She has balloons. It was her birthday, so she's
let's see
super
her
excited.
for a minute. Does she want to come in and say hi during the interview? Because this is the 7-year-old, correct?
It is. Sweetie, you want to say hi?
Oftentimes, lipedema patients have triggers at hormonal junctures, pregnancy, perimenopause. Hello, say hi to everybody. So nice to see you, honey. And her name is?
Her name is Eliana.
Eliana.
Rose, yes.
Eliana Rose, absolutely. Well, it's lovely to have you here.
She is my helper with my Lympha Press.
Really? How do you help your mommy?
If she forgets to press the button.
Yes.
I can't hear her.
If mommy forgets to press the button, I do it for her.
Is it easy to use? Is it easy to press that button?
Yes.
Wonderful. Well, we are glad you could make a special guest appearance in this interview as mommy continues to tell us about her Lympha Press experience. So we know that if anything fun is happening in the background, it's coming from that adorable 7-year-old there. So yes, easy to use, and you have been committed to it. Do you use it once or twice a day?
Okay, so I got this. I didn't realize I was going to get the jacket until it was a couple of days before, but my doctor had said my fluid levels had been severe for a long time. So she wanted me to do 3 sessions a day. But then I got the jacket and the pants. And so it was 3 sessions of the jacket and 3 sessions of the pants. That ends up being about 6 hours a day, which is really challenging when you have, extra fun people in your house who need your attention all the time.
And we don't want to freak anybody out that's watching, because not everybody is going to be asked to do 6 hours a day. I know that a lot of the women I talk to, they'll do it in the morning when they're having their coffee or whatever, and at night when they're relaxing, an hour each time. It doesn't change their normal life, except they're getting therapy while they're playing on their phone or playing words with friends or reading a book.
Right.
So, but that was a super commitment, but it's worth it, wasn't it, Kelly?
It was worth it. And I do want to also say that won't be forever. And I have tweaked it a little bit, but I'm trying really hard to stay committed to as much of the Lympha Press therapy as I can, just because I've seen such good results. The other thing is I can cut down maybe 1 or 2 sessions, or maybe instead of an hour, I go 45 minutes. Super easy to adjust the timing on the handy dandy app that you get with the Lympha Press. So I can adjust that a little bit, and I can completely tell a difference. If I am busy that day and don't get in as much time as I need, the next day I'll have quite a bit more inflammation and pain. And so as you use it, and the only way I know that is through consistent use, you can tell like kind of what your sweet spot is for how much therapy you need, what pressure, and those kinds of things.
One of the things Kelly is referring to is the Bluetooth app that is available only with the Optimal Plus. The Optimal Plus is the most advanced pneumatic compression pump in the world. And you can use your phone, your smartphone, as a remote control. Change your therapy up, start and stop it. Easy peasy. So I want to take us to your visit to Walmart, which was a couple weeks ago, right?
That was on the 1 month, not really anniversary, but 1 month in exactly to the day. Yeah. In Walmart. I go in Walmart, and I don't have a scale at my house. The only way I know I haven't lost all this fluid is because if one of my kids had a doctor's appointment or I went to the chiropractor, I would just get on the scale just to say, has anything changed? And it hasn't, 7 years in. So I was in Walmart and I'm like, I'm just going to grab a scale off the shelf and just see. But I didn't have high hopes again, because you don't after that long. And so I pulled the scale down and I stepped on, and it was 20 pounds less. And I thought, well, that's a Walmart scale. I just got the cheap one down. So I got another scale down, and that one said the same thing. And I'm like, but these aren't really calibrated right. It's Walmart and whatever. But after like 4 different scales, I was like, okay. So I didn't know whether to cry. I didn't know whether to happy dance in Walmart. But I texted you from Walmart.
Yes. Yeah. And I cried because
I know.
I've been watching your journey, and I've been, I care about you. We genuinely care about the patients that we interact with. Many of them become friends. And I know you had hopes, but also you were very cautious about what the Optimal Plus would do for you. And when you said that you were in Walmart and had been on 4 different scales, 20 pounds in 1 month.
Yeah.
It's tremendous. Yeah. We are so happy for you, but it doesn't stop there. I got yet another update from you today, 8 weeks in. Okay, so we're talking about another month. Should we have a drum roll or something? Your total inches lost is
32 1/4 inches. It's crazy. It's just crazy.
So we want to talk about some of the other benefits, because you said you noticed your skin changed.
Yes, I have noticed a lot of other things. I had like some kind of rash. I didn't know what it was. Within about a week, that had cleared up. It's a weird thing, but I had watched a summit on the lymphatic system about 3 or 4 months ago. And one of the things one of the speakers said was, if you have an arm puff instead of an arm pit, that's your lymph is clogged. And so I go look at my arm pit in the mirror, and it's an arm puff and not an arm pit. Your arm pit is supposed to be like indented. So within about 3 weeks of using the Lympha Press, my armpit is normal. And I started sweating. I haven't sweated no matter what. And we're in Texas in the heat in the summer. And it's really rare that I would ever sweat, even outside of the heat. And again, that's just shows that my lymph system was not working right. Sweating is a thing your body's supposed to do to get rid of, junk. And my lymph system just wasn't working. What are some other things? I had fibrosis all in my arms, and one of the places was on my wrists. Like right here, where that people get that cuff. I never really had that cuff, but if I ran my finger along, there's like a speed bump kind of thing right there where the fibrosis started, because hands are not usually involved in lipedema. And those both sides are gone, and I can see my wrist bone again. One thing I didn't realize lipedema had done was covered up my shins. I never thought about it until one day I reached down to like scratch an itch, and I could feel my shin bone. And it was very odd. Like, it's been all these years, and I'm like, oh, that's a shin bone. I didn't know. But I didn't know that I hadn't felt it in a long time. So it's things like that I think we don't even think about. And then when it changes, you're like, oh, I guess that's better, because it's not how it was. And then you realize that was not normal. We live in this abnormal body for so long with all the weird things, and we're just trying to deal with it. And then you get some positive changes, and it's just like, wow, that's another thing. It's really cool. So the pain levels also, I used to just have an underlying ache, and that is mostly gone. It's mostly gone. And that's huge, because I think so many women with lipedema they don't even realize that they have constant pain. And I didn't really realize it either. I thought most of my pain I'd handled with all kinds of other painful therapies and nutrition. But once I was about 3 weeks in, and then one day I had to skip, I don't remember what it was. I had to skip doing the Lympha Press for the whole day. And the next day I woke up and I was like, I used to feel like this every day. And I hadn't realized how much better it was until it came back.
What really touches me too, Kelly, is your story is going to help so many other people and give them hope. Because, you know, when you do live with a chronic, painful situation, you can almost forget what it's like to feel good again. And that takes a mental toll on you as well. I was thinking about your story about how you were able to wear your wedding ring again.
Yes, it's been a long time. And I can't wear it all the time, but a lot of times now I can. And it's just small things you get back in your life when you have improvements with your health. I know that people will focus on how many inches are gone or how many you lost weight. And for me, the inches and the pounds represent that my lymphatic system is working better. You know, it's not so much
it's not aesthetics.
Sorry,
it's not about that. Yeah.
It's not about that. And while we do feel better when we look in the mirror and see more of who we feel like we should be, and that is a real thing. And I'm not knocking that at all, because I'm really short and I do feel better when I weigh less. Just overall, I feel better. And so I'm not knocking that. But at the same time, that's only one part. That's really only one part. And there are so many other ways you can tell if you're doing better. And I think I went into using the Lympha Press without having a lot of faith in it, even though I wanted to have faith in it. And just, it took me about a weekend. And then I was like, I haven't been able to get this anywhere else. And so I think the focus that we're starting to have in lipedema, realizing that the lymphatic system really needs to be healthier, it's really an important one. It's not just about whether you're fat or you're skinny. It's about the health of your body and these body systems functioning properly. And so when our bodies start functioning properly, there's just a cascade effect. You know, when your body can't function right if your lymph system doesn't function. And so I think having this tool that mimics what your lymphatic system should be doing, it can only help everything else, you know? And so it's not surprising to me about my skin clearing up or all these other things that happened, just because if you have junk in your body, it's going to show up. It's going to show up somehow. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what else can happen over the next few months. Who knows?
Well, you are a case study in successful lipedema management using the Lympha Press Optimal Plus. There's that cutie again. I see you back there. You know, I love that she makes special guest appearances, because this is real life. You know, we're not in a TV studio, you know, with hair and makeup and lighting and all that. We're just having a candid conversation with a real person, a real mom who has had real success. And Kelly, I hope we can come back and talk to you again in another couple of months and have even more good news to report. Is there anything that you would like to say to close out this interview? Balloons and all, we're celebrating.
Go that way.
To encourage someone with lipedema or lipolymphedema out there who has lost a little bit of hope.
I think the biggest thing is, if you go to a doctor or a therapist who doesn't know what you need or doesn't have an interest in helping you, it's okay to walk away from that person. If you don't have it in you to bring a stack of literature or try to convince that person, you don't have to take that on. There are people out there, especially where we are right now, there are doctors and therapists who can do a Zoom call, a telecall. There are people who can help you do, you know, the things that you need to do. And it is so frustrating. I help women with lipedema, and it took me months to find the right doctor, to get all the paperwork in order. It took a long time, and it really can make you want to give up. And the other thing is, insurance is getting better. At least in America, insurance is getting better. They're starting to try really hard. Well, therapists and doctors, some are starting to try harder to get coverage for lipedema. And if you don't have a good interaction with your insurance at first, that doesn't mean that it won't happen for you. So the equipment's expensive, but you can get a lot of it covered if you can find the right helpers and use the right keywords. I would say don't just go in blind. Reach out to someone about filling out that paperwork and make sure the insurance has all those words that they need, because they really do have 5 minutes. They look at the form. If the words aren't there, they don't always approve it. You know. And so I would say just educate yourself and find a helper. You know, reach out to Brenda, or reach out to me, or reach out to one of those other women that you've seen who say, I have a Lympha Press and I'm using it. They can help you work with the therapist or the doctor that you feel comfortable with. Not that jerky one that's not helping you. Go find someone else that you like, that you feel comfortable with, where you feel supported. Because there is one out there. Even one who doesn't know about lipedema is better than one who's not treating you with respect and who's not supporting you, in my opinion.
You said that so beautifully, and I know people are going to want to follow you and find out more about what you do. You're a wonderful advocate for the lipedema community and for people in general. Kelly, how can people follow you and find out about you more?
I am on Facebook at Wild Heart Wellness for Lipedema, and then I have my page for health coaching for women with lipedema, and that is wildheart.health.
Perfect. Well, we look forward to talking to you again. And I do want to encourage you, if Kelly's testimony has inspired you to find out more about Lympha Press, it would be literally my honor to help. Please email me at bviola@lymphapress.com. Our team will fight for you. We will work with you. And hopefully we can help to produce the kind of results Kelly has had. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you again here at the Lipedema channel. Have a great day. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.